everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 37 of Wowhead Weekly. We have lots of stuff to talk about today, a lot of new 6.2 stuff from the PTR, a lot of stuff about the Warcraft movie, some stuff about Wowhead itself. But first, before we get into all that, I would like to introduce you to my lovely co-host, Wowhead site manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone, great to be back for another busy show. As Panzer mentioned, we have rep factions that have tons of cool items, and we also have a new Wowhead Transmog feature that I've been working on for a long time that I'm really excited to talk about.
So cool! It's so cool. I'm super excited about it. So, starting off the video, like Perk just said, there are some new rep factions that are going to be in patch 6.2 and associated with the Tanan jungle. There is kind of, this could be viewed as one or two because it's essentially the same reputation. There's just one that's Horde and one that's Alliance. The Alliance one is called Hand of the Prophet, and the Horde version is called Fulgen's Headhunters. And there's also the Order of the Awakened and the Saber Stalker. Now, from the Horde Alliance, Hand of the Prophet and Fulgen's Headhunters, you'll be able to earn a battle standard, a new follower, and if you're Alliance, he'll be Dowser Big Spark. If you're Horde, he'll be Dowser Goodwell. He's a rare holy priest. He'll start out with you right at level 100 with a 645 item level. He's also got an ability that's called Grease Monkey, which is new to 6.2, which will increase your ship oil earned by 100%. So it's sort of like your treasure hunter or your scavenger. From this reputation, you will also be able to get the blueprint for the Tuskar fishing net, a ship blueprint for Battleship and Perk. How cool is that?
Yeah, the battleship is really cool because you unlock so many ships that have all these cool racial names. You know, there's like a Varian ship, there's a Night Elf ship, there's orc ships, so it's, that's a big deal. You can really grow your ship.
You're gonna have to do this rep if you want the battleships, which I think is kind of good. We haven't seen anything that's really like, I don't know, a forced rep grind. I don't think it's gonna be that grindy, because you'll be able to do this rep by doing daily quests in Tanan. If you are Alliance, you'll start the quest in Lion's Watch. If you are Horde, you'll do them from the Volmar hub. Also from this rep, you'll be able to earn equipment for your ship that's called Unsinkable. And this is like, you can equip it to your ship, correct? And then it'll make your ship so that it can't be destroyed?
Yeah, exactly. The naval missions are different from follower missions in that when you fail a naval mission, there's a chance that the ships get destroyed. They sink in the battle. But if you attach this unsinkable equipment to it, when the mission fails, your ship will be protected for that mission. So that's pretty good if you're attached to your ship. Like, they're really easy to level up. They're not as complex as followers, but if you do have a really good set of abilities on them and you don't want to lose it, you can save them.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's also a new mount which will be earned through these two factions. It is the Dire Tusk Hellboar? Is that what it's called? Yep, the Dire Tusk Hellboar. He's bright red!
Yeah, he's really cool. He reminds me of the boars you'd find in Western Hellfire Peninsula in Burning Crusade, and yeah, I love his red. It's very bright, vibrant.
Serious sunburn. He's cute. I don't know. We've already talked about this. I like the boar mounts. And I think that one, as far as the boars go, that one stands out a lot with the bright red. So I think it'll go good with quite a few transmogs. Also from these two factions, you'll be able to earn faction-specific transmog. The Alliance set is cloth. It's the Kara Boar set. And the Horde set is leather. It is the Frostwolf set. And what's nice about this is, you know, even if you're not cloth or you're not leather, there will be a corresponding toy that will put you in those disguises. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, so that's really nice, I think, how everyone can get in on the action. Kind of like the Shatari defense for the Alliance. There's the plate set you can transmog to, but there's the toy that anyone can use to become a defender.
Correct. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm surprised, though, that the Horde set is leather and not male. It looks very shaman-y to me. But I'm a shaman, so you guys know I'm just always a little bit biased towards that kind of stuff. All these items will cost gold once you have the appropriate rep. You'll also be able to buy a tavern as well. And the vendor for this will be located in your Tanan faction hub, which again, if you're Alliance, is going to be the Lion's Watch. And if you're Horde, it's going to be the Volmar hub. The next rep is called Order of the Awakened. And again, you'll be able to get a battle standard. You'll get a new follower who is Solar Priest Vaex. He's also level 100 rare. He's a fire mage with an item level of 645. Now, is the Apexis attunement a new ability?
Yeah, and that's actually a really interesting one because so far in the data, it seems that he is the only follower that can have that ability. It's not going to be something you can get from the inn so far. Always subject to change because it's the PTR, but right now it makes sense that he looks like the Apexis Vendor, and he's the guy that gives you more Apexis Crystals from your missions.
Yeah, so that's nice. You'll get the 100% bonus to Apexis Crystals. So just like we just talked about the Grease Monkey and the Scavenger and the Treasure Hunter and stuff like that, it's going to give you a bonus to that. This is also going to be the rep that you need to obtain the Multi-Strike Gem Cut if you are a jewel crafter. There'll also be the Rookmar's Sacred Memory Toy, which I think is a disguise.
Yeah, it turns you into an Arakoa, basically, and it's kind of pricey. It's, 50,000 crystals so far, but again, all these prices are subject to change, and it is a really cool disguise.
Yeah, and then there's also going to be the Blazing Firehawk Pet and a Tavern. You'll also be able to earn a ship called the Awakener, which is pretty fitting for Order of the Awakened. This vendor will be located in your faction hub in Tanan, and all of the items cost Apexis Crystals. You'll gain this rep by doing some daily quests. We don't know. That's not complete right now, but as of right now, there's some daily quests that'll help you earn them.
Yeah, basically you go around and find treasures or rares, and you collect these special crystals and bring them back, and you get some reputation. But there could be, there could be more dailies coming. There could be more kills. We want to stress that this is the very first look we're getting at reputations, and they've said that they're going to tweak them even more.
Yeah, anything that we talk about from the PTR is always going to be subject to change. It's pretty tentative, but we like to pass on information as we get it, or as Perk gets it. The third or fourth rep, depending on how you're looking at it, is called the Saber Stalkers, and once again, you'll earn a battle standard. You can also get a new follower called Palace. He is a
cat.
Oh, he's a cat.
Yeah, he's
He's a cat, or he's like a saber.
He's a saber, but the designer who made it said he was looking at internet videos of cats for this.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's Lil Bub the follower. He's a rare combat rogue. Also will start at level 100 with an item level of 645. He has an ability called Apex Predator, which will combat many environmental threats.
Yeah, so instead of just saying, oh, he's great in the mountains, he'll count, mountains, deserts, swamps, all of those things at the same time, which is, it's really nice.
I like that they made the 3 new followers, different and useful, and they're not just oh, here's a new follower, and he has a cool name, and you should get him, but they really gave you incentive to doing these reps to get these followers, because it sounds like Palace is someone that you could put on a lot of teams to increase your success rate, and, you'll be able to get your extra ship oil, you'll be able to get additional Apexis Crystals.
Yeah, from the faction that you need the Apexis Crystals for, so that all ties together.
It works out really nice. I think that's really interesting. There's also an item that's kind of, it's up in the, now you said you think it does 15% speed increase, the new Trailblazer items?
Yeah, it doesn't say that on the item directly, and we haven't tested it, but there's a spell in the data also called Trailblazer that talks about the increase, so we think those two are related. But we'll have to see for ourselves.
The flavor text says that it helps you more effectively guide your mount through Tanan, so a speed boost would make sense. And I think a lot of people would be happy to earn this as well, because 15% to mounted movement speed, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm curious if we'll see more like that. If flying isn't coming to Tanan Jungle, it's nice to hear that there are transportation improvements in other ways.
Absolutely. There'll also be a new pet you can earn, the Savage Cub, and a Tabard, sheesh, talking is hard. The vendor for these items will be located in Fangrila, and the items will cost you Black Fang Claws, which we talked a little bit about last week, the Black Fang Claws that will drop off of certain Sabron when you kill them.
Yeah.
So, and the way you gain rep for this is to kill the mobs in Fangrilla, and they're going to be elites that are similar to Emperor Xiaohao.
The Timeless Isle reputation, with the Ordos mobs in the Northeast, kill the elites with your friends, get the reputation, it goes faster when you have more people.
Okay, it's going to be worth it, though. I think that 15% mounted move speed is really, really cool, especially considering how much is going to be necessary to complete in Tanan with patch 6.2.
Yeah.
And I know you're really excited to talk about this next thing. It is the currency overview for 6.2. So I'm going to flip it over to you, and you can explain to everybody what your findings are from this week.
Cool. So I know that whenever we do the live shows, we get a lot of questions about how to get currency like oil on the PTR, and we didn't want to get too in-depth before because things were constantly changing, but now that there are reputation items and the PTR has been around a while, we thought it would be good to share some initial findings and maybe help everyone watching this form of currency so they can get these items on the PTR. So let's start off with the Apexis Crystals. So they're still around, they've got an increased role, and I know there's some expensive items that cost crystals, but there are more ways to get them and increase how many you get at one time. So the biggest thing is that there's a new set of dailies from your Tanan Jungle Hub, and these quests reward 2,000 Apexis each, and you can do those in addition to the garrison ones, so that's pretty nice. There's also bonus objectives in Tanan, similar to other zones, but these reward Apexis Crystals. And your rate of acquiring Apexis Crystals can in triples during Apexis bonus events with the sign of Apexis buff. So every weekend there's going to be a buff to a different type of content that rotates, and maybe every once or 2 months you will get this Apexis event. So if you want to do your dailies, make sure you do them when that event is going on.
Yeah, it's really nice because there's a lot of Apexis syncs too, like mounts and pets and items and...
Yeah, there's one more buff you can get. We just talked about the Saber Maw faction, and if you kill bosses in Fangri-La, there's a quest that grants you the King of the Jungle buff, which states that it increases the Apexis you get from mobs in Tanan. So that's nice how the reps and the currencies all sort of tie together and support each other.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned above you, there is that one follower that has the unique Apexis attenuation ability to increase the Apexis crystals from your follower missions. So, as we mentioned above, there are the new rep rewards. Some cost Apexis Crystals like the pet. I know the most controversial one is the Reigns of the Corrupted Dreadwing, because that is 150,000 Apexis Crystals, but hopefully things like 3 times as many crystals that you usually get, or buffs.
You're going to be getting
them
a lot faster than you are now.
Yeah, and the final point is that you can get these eye-level 650 tokens that are called Baleful tokens for 5,000 crystals, and you can upgrade them to item level 695 for 20,000 crystals. Mm-hmm. And we should also keep in mind that all of the old Apexis gear will now cost gold, so you don't have if you want to get eye level 670 Apexis gear, just purchase that for gold. No, that is not needed in the patch for this. So yeah, that's pretty much Apexis Crystals. I'll talk a little bit more about Black Fang Claws. They're not technically a currency, but you can use them to purchase important items that we talked about with the 6.2 factions for Saber Stalker items. These drop from elites in Fangri-La, and if you loot 500 of them, you get the achievement, I Came, I Clawed, I Conquered, and this in turn is needed for the achievement Rumble in the Jungle, which rewards the Of the Jungle title. And there's this interesting mechanic where you can buy totems with Black Fang Claws, and you plop the totem down and it summons a boss. And these are needed to complete the King of the Jungle weekly quest, but these bosses can also drop Primal Spirits, Apexis Crystals, and those baleful item tokens we were talking about. So, yeah, it seems pretty cool. Like, you can get reputation items with them, you can get Apexis Crystals for your other rep grinds, you can, get crafting items, you can get baleful items and save on Apexis Crystals that way. Yeah, so I like how that all ties together.
You could, stock up on the totems, too, or you and your guildies could all, pool your totems and do a bunch of bosses all in a row.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So, I know everyone is tired of garrison resources, but they do have some new things in 6.2, and even if you're totally capped on them, you may want to pay attention, because garrison resources are needed to unlock the shipyard. The numbers have changed a few times during the PTR, but currently it's 150 for level 1, 1,000 for level 2, and 2,500 for level 3. So that's a significant amount, and upgrading your shipyard lets you have more ships in your fleet, and I believe access to maybe even some types of ships. There are new follower missions that you want to send your followers on, which cost 100 resources each, and these have new mount and pet rewards. Building ships takes oil as well as garrison resources. Purchasing the equipment for your ships will cost garrison resources. And most importantly, if you sometimes forget to log on and check your garrison, you can now increase your garrison cash from 500 to 1,000 with the trade agreement Arakoa Outcast item.
Wow,
so
that's super nice.
That's going to be really nice for alts. I mean, they have to be 100 and, be revered to get this with the Arakoa Outcast, but it's still nice if you don't log in every day.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. And the fourth rep I want to talk about, I do want to point out that we have a guide on Wowhead to minor changes that are happening to other currencies, bonus roll currencies, the rogue pickpocketing currency, but the big one that everyone is asking about is oil.
Yeah.
And so the main way to get oil is if you complete the Apexis dailies in Tanan Jungle, you also get 600 oil along with that, so you can regularly get 600 oil each day. But you can supplement that by several garrison follower missions. And do keep in mind the amount can be approved upon with the Grease Monkey trait, which, as we mentioned before, is from some followers and can also be found on inn followers. You can recruit that from the inn.
Oh, nice.
We mentioned the Apexis bonus event above, and if you complete 5 Apexis objectives during that holiday, you receive 1,000 oil. And some of the challenging rares in Tanan have also been reported to drop oil, and bonus objectives reward oil as well. And there's no real items you can purchase with oil right now, but they're used to build your ships, and they are the currency for all of your naval missions. Garrison resources are not used for anything involving sending your ships into the terrible seas of Draenor. So, yeah, I think we should talk a little bit about just sort of general, cool, fun PTR build stuff. Because even though it's been out for a month or two now, but we still keep finding, toys and pets and all sorts of stuff. Adorable stuff.
All sorts of adorable stuff. We did find an item. Well, Perk found it. I don't want to take credit for you. But Perk found an item which will possibly teleport you to Tanan rares, which I think is really interesting if you consider that you're going to have these totems where you'll be able to summon rare bosses, and then you'll have these other items that will teleport you to rares, and then if you get the rep item, you'll also be able to run 15% faster. I think that it's going to be really efficient to be able to do any sort of grindy type things, which is nice. There are several items that were also found that indicate there's going to be a last boss skip for Hellfire Citadel, kind of a la the Sigil of the Black Hand for Blackrock Foundry. This isn't really an item, but the Awaken the Drakes achievement, which is super hard to obtain right now, has actually been made account-wide, which, if you don't know what I mean by that, it's you don't have to earn that whole achievement on one character, meaning that if you earned this Drake on this character and this Drake on a different alt, those will count towards one achievement, so it will be a little bit easier to obtain, which is really nice. And on the achievement topic, Ahead of the Curve, Cutting Edge, Emperor's Fall, and Black Hand's Crucible will no longer be available in 6.2. So if you want that achievement, you need to down Black Hand and Imp before 6.2 on heroic difficulty.
And Cutting Edge for Mythic.
And Cutting Edge for Mythic. Yep. I don't have that. That is not in my life. The Dark Moon Gazer will be a toy starting in 6.2. Daily profession cooldowns will now give you a base of 8 up from 4, which is like if you're making paints or if you're making like the tailoring cloth, instead of getting 4, you'll get 8, which is nice. That was one of those profession catch-up mechanics that we talked about in previous video. This is really funny, but there's like a new feast or an item called Fell Eggs and Ham.
Yeah, the flavor text is really funny on it because it references the Dr. Seuss, piece of literature. But I'm going to pull it up right now.
That's
One
amazing.
second.
You pull it up.
Because the tooltip is just really funny. It is... You can eat them here or there. You can eat them anywhere. And then in parentheses, cannot be eaten in arenas or rated battlegrounds.
That is really cute. I didn't read that until you just read that now. That's really, really, really cute. There's also the new titles we talked about last week, the Of the Jungle and Captain, but now we've seen like Blank, Defiler's End. So Perculia, Defiler's End, and that's for Mythic Archimond. Archimond. I'm so sorry. I'm working on it. There's also a title that's Predator and then your name. So for me, it'd be Predator Panzer. And that's for killing the rare Zermerkel?
I wonder if it's an inside joke because it's a very strange sounding name.
Zermerkel. I tried.
Yeah,
really hard.
I think it's like the whole thing is an in joke about the film. So that's my idea behind that.
It's Blizzard making fun of us behind the scenes. They just can't wait for everybody who's making videos to have to say that word in a video. And then one of the most exciting fun things that's coming in 6.2 are these new Warlock Demon models. What you're seeing right now is the Felguard. And he's pretty cool. There's 3 different colors. I just showed one for each of these videos. Up next is going to be the Wrathguard. And I really like his tail on this. It looks really heavy. Like the way he's swinging his tail, it's like believable that he's got that big blade. And then next up is the Doomguard, who I don't even think I need to tell you. He obviously looks very
his belt
scary.
is serious business.
Yeah, he in general is just serious business. Then next up we have the Imp. And he was crazy. Filming him was nuts. He just kept doing flips and tweaking out and spinning around. But he looks probably the most similar to the current models.
Yeah, he does. I like his personality, though. I like there's more distinction on his torso and you can see some of his bones and just his joints. So that's nice.
This is the Dreadlord.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There was a tweet that the developers made saying that we'd be getting the Imp, Wrathguard, and Voidlord in an upcoming build. So I'm not sure if this guy's coming, but I think he's awesome. He's got purple, pink, yellow, and blue wing tints.
Yep.
And yeah, I really like him. He has a very interesting belt and just the jewels. So I wish he could be a Warlock minion.
And this is the Infernal, and I think the Infernal is probably, of all the ones that we've seen, is probably the best. And the last up is the Fellstalker, who is a scary-looking guy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, his bony face is giving me nightmares.
He has no eyes. He's, like, all exposed flesh, and, like, his... He's nightmare fuel. I don't like him at all, or I really like him. It's hard to tell, but he looks super cool. And like Perk said, we can expect the Imp, the Wrathguard, and the Voidlord in an upcoming build. Not so sure about the other ones yet.
Yeah, I mean, we might just see them as demons as trash in Hellfire Citadel.
Oh, that's sad. I hope that Warlocks get them. Please, Blizz. Please, please. But moving on from 6.2 a little bit, because we certainly have talked about that quite a lot today. There is some new stuff on Wowhead, very exciting. Like we talked about briefly last week, there's the threat database, and that is for the shipyard, correct?
Yeah, it's for both mission threats and shipyard threats. So if you want to see all the missions that have a certain threat associated with them, or what followers naturally come with an ability that can counter a threat, you can just all find that on one page now. You don't have to filter for 3 different things.
Which is super nice. There's also a new Hellfire Citadel raid overview that has all of the loot, the 3D models of the loot and the bosses, a list of rewards for things like Mythic Archimond, mounts, and Transmogs, and just everything. They also talk about the new item level system. It's explained in depth. There's all of the tier 18 set bonuses, the Archimond trinket procs, information about the legendary quest line. It's pretty much anything you need to know about Hellfire Citadel is there and organized. Easy to find.
Yeah, but the coolest thing, I'm just like, oh man, Hellfire Citadel, it's so boring. But the thing I'm really excited about is that the Wowhead team launched a major upgrade to our model viewer, which is the dressing room tool.
Check this out. I took a video of it. You can talk about it while the video plays, but it's super cool.
Basically, we wanted to build something that was the ultimate custom transmog experience. It lets you create and save your own sets. You can easily browse gear on Wowhead to add them to a set. You can browse by image, just not by name. You can find matching mounts and pose your fully dressed character on all the mounts. Yeah. And you can even customize your appearance if you think maybe a new hairstyle or earrings would better express your personal style in Transmog. So
you can,
it's like
you can change
barbershop.
Everything. You can even change like your race and stuff. So if you were considering race changing your main character, you can import your main character. It'll show all of your character's gear, and then you can like switch it to a troll or an orc or whatever, which is super neat. I messed around with it quite a bit last night, and I got on a couple different mounts. This is the, it's funny because I actually bought this mount after seeing my character Onyx. I was like, oh, that looks good in my transmog. Literally went and dropped 36k gold on that. Kind of embarrassing. And then the last mount that I decided to pose on is the Mystic Rune Saber, and that seemed appropriate because, as Perk did not mention, surprisingly, if you go to the Wowhead post for this feature, if you use it and then comment your link, you will be entered to win a Mystic Rune Saber. Wowhead is giving 5 of them away.
Yeah, so basically what Panzer said, that was beautiful timing, how you had your character on the Mystic Rune Saber. And yeah, it's really simple. Just use the tool, drop the link into the post, which we'll have linked under the video, and just do this before Thursday, June 4th, and you could be eligible to enter. And it's, you know, it's open to US players as well as EU players. We can tell which region you're on if you have registered to Wowhead. So we're really excited about this, and if you love Transmog, make sure you check out our other Transmog features on the site, such as all of our our database where you can now browse by race, as well as all of our guides and gallery searches.
Yep, it's really neat because you can also go in and see all of the galleries of the Transmog sets, and you can change it so that it's your character, like gender and everything, so that you can kind of get a better idea of what those would look like. Wowhead has a lot of cool features for stuff like that, so I'll have links in the info below for you. But what I've been waiting to talk about, I feel like you've been waiting to talk about the dressing room the whole video. I've been waiting to talk about the Warcraft movie because I'm really excited about the Warcraft movie, as you guys know. And we learned a little bit more from a Wired interview with Duncan Jones, who is the director of the upcoming Warcraft movie. And we learned some really fun facts, like while motion capturing, acting, and visual effects were really important to the film, so much of what you'll actually see in the film was a real live set. Like, not everything is CGI. They'll have actual sets of, probably, if I had to guess, like the human areas, because that would make more sense. Right. Jeff White from ILM, who previously worked on the Hulk for the Avengers, felt that orcs had similar genetic background to the Hulk, so that's so cool that, like, it's like all my fandoms colliding. Blizzard created concept art for the film, which was heavily used by ILM when they were creating the characters, and this was probably the most fun.
I love this one.
I love this one. For special effects, sometimes the actors had to sit on giant rocking horses while giving dramatic speeches, and the person that they actually used as an example was Clancy Brown, and Clancy Brown's like this huge guy. He's like 6'5", he's got this big beard, and I can only imagine how silly that looked. Like he's giving this, oh, my orcs come together for war.
He's on a rocking
horse. Like, that's amazing.
I wonder if they dressed up the horse, if they gave it like a
oh, that'd be hilarious. I mean, I would assume it was green screened, but
yeah,
I would like to think that they put like a goblin, like the buoys that they put around like the little seahorses. Duncan Jones said no promises, but if there was a Warcraft movie, he would be very interested in working on the sequel. So that's exciting. But this is Perk added this last minute, and I hadn't seen this, so when I opened the notes for the show, I legitimately squealed a little bit. But there is a rumor going around the rumor mill that there might be a Warcraft movie trailer before Jurassic Park. What?
Yeah, I will definitely...
What?
I
was already going to see Jurassic Park. I was already going to see
better.
it. I'm super excited about that. I'm not even like, I've said this a million times, but I'm not super into movies. It's a long time to sit still and be quiet and not do anything. But I was totally going to go see Jurassic Park, because that's a movie I watched when I was a little kid, and there's a bunch of actors in it that I like, so I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And I saw the Warcraft movie thing, and I was like, it's a sign! So I'm super excited about it. June 12th, I think it comes out. I'm really, really, really excited.
I'm very curious to see what's going to end up in the trailer, how they're going to present it, and what my friends are going to think who don't play Warcraft. Are they going to get it? Are they going to like it? How are they going to portray the Alliance and the Horde?
I'm super excited. I can't handle how excited I am about it. I'm excited for the movie on like just a multitude of things. Like, when it was first announced that Duncan Jones was taking over the Warcraft movie, one of the big things that he said that really like made me excited about the movie is that he wanted to change like the war movie game, like not just video game movies or the Warcraft movie, but just in general. He wanted to make this like breakthrough movie about a war that was told from both sides, and that there would be heroes and villains on both sides, and there would be good guys and bad guys on both sides. And I think that in and of itself is such an interesting concept, because every time you get a war movie, you're usually, you know, sided with whatever side is the narrative.
Right.
And I think
it gets boring after a while.
It really,
it's really good when they want to sort of innovate a genre instead of being another blockbuster.
I know. I'm super excited about this, and I can't handle my feels. I've officially exploded with feels, and I'm so excited. So let's move on before I just 404 pans are not found.
I mean, you can move from exploding to falling with this next topic.
Oh my gosh, I know. This week was week number 2 of the selfie scavenger hunt for those of you participating. Of course, the first week was a naked man in Orgrimmar about to get attacked by guards. This week was a Tauren falling from the skies above Dalaran. This was so hard. I actually wanted to take a picture of myself doing it for this week. So this was my best attempt. Feel free to laugh at me because look at how ridiculous that is. I love that my Tauren looks angry because I was angry at that point. This was so difficult. Like, I expected all of these selfie ones to be pretty easy. This was so difficult. Like, I have flight form as a druid, and I died like 5 times in my 600 attempts to get this selfie. That was the best one I could do. Of all my attempts, that was the best one. I ended up installing this add-on called Check Your Selfie that takes off the text when you're like spamming.
Oh, yeah. Right, because you're like, I hate that screen capture.
Yeah, there's an add-on. There's an add-on for that. So I ended up installing that out of frustration. But yeah, I better win. After all my hard work. There's all sorts of prizes for this contest, like Battle.net funds, iPhone 6s, there's even like a grand prize trip to BlizzCon. There is nothing exclusive though, so if you aren't participating, don't feel like you're missing out. There's not like a special hoodie or something. Everything that they're giving away could be bought with your own money.
Yeah, and I just want to state you also do not need a selfie camera to enter this, so if you have bad luck or you're not level 100, that's fine. You just have to take a picture of your character, roughly with that same pose in the area.
It's
and as
hard.
mentioned before, it is falling off Dalaran, but if you look at the background of the sample screenshot, it's a very specific area. It's where the sewer pipe goes out of Dalaran. So there's like an island, and then there's a tree.
You want the white trees behind you. That was like how I figured out kind of where to go, but it was really tough. It was really difficult. The first time I tried to do it on my mage, because I was like, oh, I have slow fall. I'm totally gonna cheat the system. But no, apparently blood elves, when they fall, they put their knees up to their chest. Totally ruins the whole thing. They like cannonball when they fall.
Right.
So that wasn't working. So I ended up going on my Tauren, but man, that's a tough one. It's
really funny to see a bunch of people just flapping on their mounts above the area, and everyone's sort of thinking, okay, are you gonna go now? Like, are you gonna dismount? Who's gonna die now?
I did it at 4 a.m, and there were 2. That character is on a PvE server, thank goodness. But I did this at 4 a.m, and there were 4 other people in the same spot, and I was watching like. And it's funny how courteous everyone was being. Like, we all knew that it was so difficult that nobody was like trying to ruin anyone's shot. We're like, okay, you can do this now, human guy. I think it's a riot. I think it's like a really fun community event, and I wasn't expecting to have as much fun doing it as I was. So I guess the last topic that we wanted to talk about today is the upcoming live Q&A with Lore and Watcher that is on Saturday, June 6th at 2 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. You excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited because we've seen some interviews that they've been doing at sort of, general gaming sites like Polygon.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a really good opportunity for the community to submit questions that may be different than the more general ones these sites have been asking and sort of talking about 6.2 topics. I liked how the interview said that they were addressing not only 6.2 topics, but also lessons learned in Warlords of Draenor, so you could ask about maybe how their philosophy has changed, or if they think that, do they like this feature, what are they changing in 6.2, so I'm hoping that there'll be some good discussion.
Yeah, for sure, and Wowhead will be live blogging the entire interview, so you'll be able to catch a text version of that right on the front page of Wowhead on Saturday, June 6th.
Yeah, and if you're saying this sounds really cool, how do I submit questions? We don't have information on that yet. All we know is that the interview is happening. It's going to be live streamed on Twitch. Community manager Lore is doing the question with Watcher, and that Blizzard is making a post on Monday with more information, including how to submit the questions.
So make sure that you're following like Warcraft on Twitter, because I'm sure you're going to see some information about that there. And
do we have any questions? We're not doing a live show.
No,
this
I know,
week,
and
so
I started to go.
I
started to go through the YouTube comments, and because we talked about flying last week, they were a little off track. So I'm going to ask everybody today, if you were watching this video and you would like us to answer a question about anything maybe that we talked about this week or anything coming up in 6.2, leave a comment in the comment section below. We usually pick like 3 to 5 to answer every show, and then we usually talk to Twitch a little bit, answer some questions from there. But this week, I sadly do not have any questions for us. Sorry, Perk.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you were watching this live, I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties. This is what happens when you buy your computer from Goblins, apparently. 60% of the time it works all the time.
Alliance is better.
Yeah, I'm sure the Gnomish one would be so much better. So thank you so much for everybody who put up with that and was patient and understanding. I really appreciate that. We will be back to live on Friday. I believe I got everything all situated with my codex and whatnot. So thank you, and I apologize again, and thank you again. We're going to wrap up today's video. Again, leave us a comment with a question in it for us to answer next week. And until then, we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.